It's the Polo Podcast. Welcome back, Polo Podcast.
We're back.
Welcome back. We're back. And with us tonight, I have to admit, this is a JC superhero fan. Right? You would say, right?
He does awesome tanks, man.
Yeah, I know. Freshwater I would say Mr. Aquascape, maybe.
I'm happy to assume that title.
I like it.
Yeah.
But does fabulous custom installation work in both salt and fresh. Mike Senske of Aquarium Design Group.
Thank you very much for having me on me. Thank you very much. It's an honor and a pleasure to be here. Thank you.
Man. At what age did you start with aquariums?
So a quick little bio. My father's a veterinarian in Houston, Texas, and my father was born in Germany. Back in the day, especially, the Germans were some of the pioneers in aquarium keeping. My grandfather even kept aquariums during and after World War II.
Oh, wow.
So my father had me at a young age when he was in veterinary school and actually had a small aquarium store when he went to Oklahoma State University. At the age of 5, he gave me my first aquarium, small box filter, some guppies.
He beat us.
And they had some babies, and then I was hooked, and here I am, and here it is today. So I've been literally working in the aquarium pet industry, if you will, my entire life.
And you've never gone out of this industry. You've been in day one.
Yep. From my very first book that I ever read, once I learned how to read, was African Cichlids of Lake Malawi and Tanganyika. There was only a brief moment growing up, father being a veterinarian around a lot of animals. I worked about a year in the Arabian horse farm industry.
Oh, wow.
And
cool.
did that for a minute, and then I was kicked in the head by a horse and decided to get back out of it, back into fish.
You got out of fish, though.
I got out of fish for 1 year.
You did get out.
Into horses and then kicked in the head by a horse.
It took him to get kicked in the head to go back to aquariums.
Back to fish.
It was
and
a
aquariums.
sign.
Yeah.
Get back to the tanks, bro. Tell us a little bit about your company and what you do.
So Aquarium Design Group's based in Houston, Texas. We've been in business now going on 23 years. Staff of 23 total. We have a retail facility. I like to consider it one of the most beautiful stores, if not the country one in the world. It's recognized as such. Very aquascape centric. And then we also we do retail, but it's very, very focused. It's more of a concierge service. So it's not so much a bunch of stuff. Our main focus really is custom installation and then maintenance as well. Our largest aquarium that we service and maintain is 30,000 gallons.
Nice.
Someone's got 30,000.
It is actually in a furniture store.
What?
In Houston, Texas. Yeah, there's a really famous guy in Houston. His name's Mac McInvale. He's known as Mattress Mac. It's a marine fish only system.
What does he have in there? Is it predator fish?
But we had up to about a 6-foot Australian zebra shark in there.
Oh, wow.
That did very well. We had a good probably 5-year run with that fish in there.
That's awesome.
It was fish only?
Fish only, yeah. And we've joking, a lot of people, as I go around, they're like, oh, you're the freshwater guys. Well, we're freshwater guys, but we're also saltwater guys. But a lot of the reef guys don't venture off into high-tech planted tanks.
Let's talk about why you're considered freshwater guys.
Yeah, so in the freshwater world and in the world of aquascaping, Takashi Amano had a book out. He's the godfather of aquascaping.
Oh yeah,
I think you wouldn't see aquascaping in freshwater aquariums as they are today without his influence. I don't think there's any one person in the aquarium aquascape, or even when it comes to aquarium as a design element that had such an influence as he did. So
absolutely,
I found his books, inspired. We would later on be a distributor of products. I would share pictures of our photographs in our aquariums, and I just had the honor to get his feedback. And so
that's awesome.
It just that Japanese style of minimalist
It's a very
aquascaping.
particular style. It's
Right.
very clean, giant tanks.
So when you see it, and we'll even apply a lot of that to our reef installations as well. So to be able to take, to take wood, sand, one type of rock, and one or two types of fish, and create high art that in its own right can have the same impact but in a different way as a beautiful reef aquarium.
Right, absolutely.
That's a talent and a skill that's kind of known as ADG or Aquarium Design Group, We kind of pioneered a style called the hardscape style.
No, you're freaky. You can do both scapes. I mean,
Yes.
It's a whole different.
Oh no, it's a whole different
set of
thing.
eyes.
It is,
Yeah,
it
a whole
is.
different train of thought.
It's different train of thought.
But I'll tell you what, Andrew,
there aren't that many crossovers that are great.
well, and this you can relate, and this is where when I view your aquarium that I have such a respect for, is aquascaping and doing a reef aquarium, and aquascaping a reef aquarium is very different. What we see a reef aquarium, you have your the rock, the hardscape, we place corals, but to put the forethought into it about the placement of coral, which you do, how that coral's going to grow, how it's going to interact.
Absolutely.
I've got these 12 species here, and what's going to happen in
3
2
years.
months, 3 months, years now, and what does that look like? And I think that's where we're just really starting to see a little bit more of a movement with aquascaping reef aquariums.
Absolutely.
The different styles and methodologies and such.
Yeah, because people don't realize it. I mean, you're buying a frag, a small piece of coral, but what is that going to grow into in a
Right.
year? You buy an inch acro, and if you're doing it right in a year, you got a nice sized colony. It's going to take up space. It's going to grow up.
Yep.
Got to take that into account.
And unlike plants in a freshwater planted aquarium, we can landscaping. We can pick up the
modify it.
plants, move it, and do things.
Yeah.
A little more challenging with corals, as we know.
Yeah.
Especially when you got to make a dive.
Yeah.
Right? You can't just stick your hand in.
No one's hands. My hands stay out of the tank.
You dove it once. We all know how that ended.
That wasn't good.
It didn't end well. He fell.
Now I remember what I really
Gotcha.
am aiming at here. Michael, what is your revenue split out between new installation, service, maintenance?
Service revenue would be 65%,
Yeah.
10%, say 7% retail, the rest new installation.
Only a third in new installation.
Yeah.
Even though those jobs are bigger, which
They're
means
bigger.
you must have a client list.
We do. For example, not just that, but in Houston, we do all the aquariums, and I've done them for over 20
And you must
years.
charge them pretty good too.
We do. We do, like, for example, Texas Children's Hospital. We have 65 aquariums in that hospital.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
MD Anderson.
That's not playing around.
MD Anderson Cancer Center. We've got probably right around 64 aquariums in that hospital. Wow. And there are some reef aquariums in those hospitals and freshwater aquariums as well.
But it's enriching. An aquarium is something that obviously there's patients going into these hospitals. It brings a sense of well-being,
Yeah.
a sense of peace, especially the freshwater planted tanks are so peaceful.
Well, and
to
it's
look
our
at.
connection to nature. I think it's like
Absolutely.
why we're having this conversation. We love aquariums.
Yeah.
There's a connection there that and it's something that I
you were an
explain.
automobile guy.
Motorcycles.
Hey, I've there's a couple of times in my career when I've hit my challenges in the aquarium business, and I'm a good sales guy too. I was like, maybe I'll just go sell, Lamborghinis or something, Bentleys,
This is one of the most crazy things you spend your money on,
Yeah.
and it does not go on your balance sheet.
No.
Yeah.
No, it does not.
No.
It's true.
J.P. Morgan comes over and says it's a perishable, and that is different than buying the Mona Lisa.
It's true. It's true. But you know what? It brings us joy and happiness.
But you know what? You've got a good point. And from a business perspective, that is, I'll deal with mega high net worth clients. And there's very few where there's an opportunity to do an aquarium where there's no budget.
Right.
Opportunities where there's creative license, but always no budget. And it's also one of the first things that will fall under the microscope when a client is looking at cutting cost, or one of the first things they'll truly examine if I need to do a price increase. You know, if salt prices have gone up and I need to pass that on to the customer,
there was strikes, and I'm not kidding.
Yeah.
Not only the eggs went up, salt went up, everything went up.
No. Just recently, sodium chloride went up like 30 to 50%.
So when it comes time to like pass that on to the client, like right now, you know, we're in an interesting economic time.
Yeah.
You know this better than I do.
We are,
And so
we are in the greatest experiment of all time.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so
Right now.
I will try and find. I'll try
I'll
and
take
find
the
those
blue
numbers
pill,
over.
but
There you go.
I don't know. You guys may want
The rev. We'll take your advice, whatever you say.
Yeah.
I trust you, man.
Yeah.
Oh, man. You've seen some crazy tanks. And with all the tanks that you've seen, what would be like your dream build? Like if somebody told you, hey, Mike, I want you to build this for me, that you would be like, oh my God, I can't believe I'm going to be able to work on this project.
You know, it would be to do more of a large scale freshwater planted,
Like
or if you can imagine an
massive.
aquarium that large with massive arowanas and arapimas and just the whole ecosystem of
Yeah.
these massive fish down to cardinal tetras, and just this whole thing living together
The full
like that
picture.
could be as inspirational as watching a whale shark
I'm
swim.
willing to bet he owns a motorcycle.
I don't.
don't?
Wife won't let me. No.
don't?
I had one.
They had one already.
Yeah.
There you go. You got it.
I laid it down, and I was like, I'm done with that.
That's it. Next.
Yeah.
Kudos to you that you have a recurring revenue stream
Yeah.
of that nature.
Well, you know, Andrew, that's where the real challenge, you know, and I think you've known many people through your aquarium journey, and even now, hobbyists and people that get into it, or people that, you know, everybody thinks it would be the greatest thing, but it's the business side of this aquarium business, and maintaining and installing and having aquariums on all sides, and that's truly where the real challenge comes in. Another challenge too that you may have experienced that we have, but for staffing, just because I have marine biologists doesn't mean they teach them reef aquarium at Texas A&M Galveston.
Most scientists don't.
They know
don't
the
even
nitrogen
Yeah.
cycle,
Yeah, that's
and
about
some
it.
chemistry, and that's it.
That's it. Yeah.
Oh man. Well, listen, Andrew. We're trying to convince him, but I think we got him pretty convinced about setting up a freshwater planted tank in his house.
No, it's gonna happen.
Yes.
gonna
Hallelujah.
It's gonna happen after the 32 other projects we haven't even gotten to in the last 32 years.
Well, at least you're never going to be bored for the next couple of years, man.
This
There's
one,
so many
this one
projects
I really,
going on.
this one I think I'd like to have because
How big are you considering, Andrew, for this aquarium? What do you have in mind?
It's not
It's
huge.
not huge.
And it doesn't have to be huge.
It's not huge. It's a spot in the house, and I was going to do a jellyfish tank in there, and we vetoed it, and because it was just an LED light show, and
It's just a screensaver.
It's a screensaver.
No disrespect to the jellyfish, but
Hey,
it's.
I love jellyfish,
I know.
as you
We
know
got
very
JC
well.
over here, the jellyfish
I used to
guy,
work with
so-
jellyfish,
Yeah,
so-
so no disrespect to jellyfish, but it's just a screensaver in my opinion.
It's
you
a
know?
different type of aquarium, for
Yeah.
sure. It's more like art. But this corner for the freshwater planted tank
Yeah.
is awesome because it has a beautiful wall right behind it that I think I've convinced Andrew that we're going to do an exterior terrestrial planted with epiphytes and the driftwood mosses, tropical miniature orchids, ferns, aroids, all that crazy stuff, and then kind of trickling down into the aquarium.
And I tell you what's real encouraging now, Andrew, is you know that what happens with all the technology and developments here, but we're doing some installations like that.
Nice.
We just, and we're doing, Kessel's got a track lighting system. They do a lot of living walls and
Yep.
such.
by the way, we have a koi pond which has
I've seen that, yeah.
some stunners in there, and stunners coming.
Love
That
it.
collecting is just another sport.
Complete.
I
Yeah.
mean,
I had the opportunity to actually go to the, I think they're like 500-year-old koi farms in Niigata.
yeah, and the mud.
And see all that right before like the spring auction.
Yeah.
And it was, yeah, it's
What an
incredible.
experience. Has
Yeah,
to be,
it
like,
was.
mind-blowing.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Absolutely incredible. And
Yeah.
I've actually
Wow.
been wanting that. We didn't do a pool at my house because I wanted to save. My backyard's not as big as yours, Andrew. but I wanted to save that space for actually
ponds?
doing a koi pond. So I'm kind of digging into that a little
That's
bit. Really,
pun intended.
Thinking about the aesthetic of it, and then
Yeah.
but doing a true a pond that's been built and designed for koi,
For the fish.
and not just a pond where koi are an afterthought.
There you go, which
Yeah.
was our mistake.
Yeah,
We lived through that.
We lived through it. We redid our pond
yeah,
Polo version too.
yeah.
It was done and beautiful. We
It
tore it
was
apart and redid it.
done for aquascaping, and
It looked nice, but it
Well,
wasn't
then you got into
functional.
the koi, and you realize really what the koi needed to
there
make.
you
Right.
go.
And if you're going to go out and essentially buy a thoroughbred that's a fish, and keep it in your, you need some certain things there for the longevity of that fish.
that's what we realized.
But
Yeah.
you live and learn, and now
Yeah.
it's redone, and now it's proper for the fish. The fish are thriving. They're healthy, beautiful. I mean, there's some big guys in there, like, kabam,
Yeah.
like huge. And more coming on the way.
But the more you have invested, the more you look at things like high-end automation systems
Yeah.
to run these koi ponds. And you would think they'd be commercially available. The one we saw it was a big price number, like 30,000.
Really?
Yeah, and
No thanks.
he get the market himself because people love his product.
If it works, I mean, I guess it's like a niche within a niche because nothing really
Shouldn't
exists.
be, but it is right now.
And why is it so expensive on using that automation on a koi pond? What are you, basic water parameters, but are you managing ozone or anything, or?
You can, but the system is sold so that you're constantly monitoring. Let me see if I can get this right. Dissolved oxygen, salinity, turbidity, ammonia, nitrite, nitrate, pH.
Well, I mean, for me, at a $30,000 price point, I would just go out every morning with a test strip and
Yeah,
test
but I mean,
but
it
it's not
makes
the
sense
same, I
because
know.
you're dealing with such such an
Right.
investment, and then you're thinking about these fish.
Yeah.
And just the waste load and how quickly that can
Produce
alter
a lot of
water
waste.
chemistry and the
Yeah.
parameters.
Yeah.
And if you're not watching, just like as in a reef aquarium, if you're not catching those trends early on before they become a problem,
Yeah.
then it's an expensive problem.
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, we have a lot of projects going on at Polo Reef, as you just noticed.
All right, well, let's move that
We're-
freshwater
we're
one
gonna-
up to the top of the
we're
short
gonna-
list.
Yes,
Yeah.
we need to talk about that. We got to try to figure out what fish Andrew wants in there. The guys from Predatory Fins were over recently. They were trying to convince Andrew to put giant monster fish in there. We did a great video on that, so check it out on YouTube. It came
I
out really
love
fun.
the
Lots of fun.
yellow
There's,
and the red pigeon discus, and I liked with neon tetras.
Yeah, yeah.
And I want wood, and I want
That natural,
live
Yeah,
plants.
you're
colorful,
talking my
yeah.
language, Andrew. That's
That's what I
right there.
want.
That's my specialty.
I want those yellow blood pigeons,
Yeah.
those discus.
They're cool, but that's not the look you
And
want.
not the old Heckle discus.
Yeah.
Discus. No, not those.
No, it
You want
becomes.
some-
I mean, yeah, it'll with the domestic discus now and all the colors and everything, it's just phenomenal.
Yeah. I mean, there's so many beautiful morphs
Yeah.
and colors of discus right now. It's incredible. But
Right.
we need to get to talking, Mike, about this and start getting some plans in the work because I'm excited about that tank.
Yep.
I'm excited about the plants too.
Might even get here before before some other tanks.
It's easy.
Yeah.
It's a simple one.
It's a simple one.
Yeah.
Just need a nice canister filter, right?
That's it.
Some CO2,
Some CO2,
Some lights.
some good lighting,
Lighting.
some
yeah.
nutrients.
some good RODI water. I don't think that's a problem for you. Andrew.
No.
I think you got plenty of that
I
around.
got plenty around.
His
You know.
And
his
then what
RO
do you
unit
do? You
shoots out like a
treat, you
hose.
treat the RODI.
You remineralize
You
it.
remineralize
Exactly. Yep.
it
To get the general hardness back
general
up.
harness back
Yep.
for those kind of fish.
Exactly.
And then voila,
That's it.
You got it.
you
Yep.
have a water change. That's what you would do the water change.
Water change, dosing system, just like what you do on your
Yep.
reefs.
Yeah,
Exactly.
for nutrients,
Yeah.
micro, macronutrients. Andrew, I think we're going to have to plan a trip next time we're in Texas to go check out Mike's location.
I can't wait.
Right?
There you go. Get you over some Texas barbecue as well.
Tomorrow. Let's go tomorrow.
Where in Texas are you?
Houston, Texas.
All right.
All right.
Let's do it. I got my cowboy hat. Mike,
You got it. Hey,
great chat,
gentlemen,
bro.
thank you very much.
Absolutely,
Honor and
man.
pleasure
This
to
was
be
fun.
on here.
This was fun.
You got it.
Okay, guys. I hope you enjoyed the content tonight. And
great.
please, if you'd like, click the subscribe button right there for us so that we can keep providing this great content to you.
New video every Friday.
It's the Polo Podcast.